Yes, people, welcome back to the JNM Football Podcast. So it's been a while since we've done our last podcast. I think I was actually in England when we did our last one. I think I said this last time, but we want to do this as a weekly thing and get guests on, maybe like clients, just followers of JNM Football and other footballers in different countries, stuff like that. So we are interested in doing like a weekly podcast with guests and stuff like that. So if you'd be interested in something like that, let us know, drop a comment, anything. Today it's just me. I'm just going to be going through like some common questions we got. So basically I just did a poll on Instagram story about an hour ago saying just a bunch of random questions for a Q&A on a podcast. So I'm just going to read through them, pick out the best and answer them. So I'll do the intro now and then we'll get started. So I'm just reading through the question that I've even read through them. So I'm just going to pick like my favourite ones, answer them. I'm not sure how much I'll answer, like 10 to 20 questions, and then yeah. How often should I do it? So here's a question. I'm going to try and read your names, but if I get them wrong, I do apologise. It's from Nick Pintadic, I think, I'm not sure. And he asks how to have calorie deficit during injury. So basically, he's asking about how to be in a calorie deficit whilst not being so active as you would be when training with a team or whatever. So the only answer to this is just to lower your calorie intake, because as you're burning less calories, you don't even need to have, or you don't need to intake as much calories as you would when you're training normally. So basically, the only way to stay in a calorie deficit whilst you're not as active as you normally would be is just to bring down your calorie intake for the day. So say for example, when you were training with a team and stuff like that, your calorie intake was 3,000 calories, say, for a day. I would probably take that down to like 2,500, something like that, and then you should be okay. But obviously everyone's different, everyone burns calories at a different rate and stuff like that. So you need to try like different amounts of intakes, like week, 2 weeks, and just see what amount of calories works and allows you to not pot on weight, also obviously being injured, not being so active. How can you, it's from Paula Karam, 17, I think. How can you keep yourself disciplined in healthy foods and workouts? So at the start, I used to struggle with like eating healthy, being consistent with gym work and stuff like that. But now I've got to a point where like, it's just a part of my life. It's something I have to do, and like even if I'm not feeling really motivated or like really positive or anything, I still know I have to go and train, I have to hit the gym, and I have to eat healthy. So like I don't even have to think about it no more. It's just like a part of my life, part of my day. Like I made a post on Instagram the other day, like it's just like wake up in the morning, going to brush my teeth, have a shower, stuff like that. It's just part of my day and something I do. Like I don't need motivation no more. It's just like it's so important to me, and it's such a big part of my life that I know I have to do it, and it has to be done basically. So it's like another daily task, which is obviously important, and I focus on doing well and correctly. But like I don't need any extra motivation or messages or stuff like that for me to go out and train. Like I know it has to be done. And obviously without the right diet and the right nutrition, you're not going to get the results you want. So that's also just a part of it. You have to eat well, you have to train hard, and then you'll get the results you want basically. So you just need to get to the point where you don't even need to like watch motivational videos or anything like that. You just have to know like it's a part of your life, it has to be done, and that's it. So here's one by Hamad21_.7. How to not take stress after how to not feel stressed after a bad game. So what I would say to this is everyone's going to have a bad game from time to time. It's impossible to be a 10 out of 10 every week. Even players like Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, Mbappe, whatever, they all have bad games from time to time. It happens, and it's part of football. Now, having a bad game, obviously no one wants it, but it's not always a bad thing, because like even if you're playing really, really well and then you have a bad game, it helps you realise that there's things you still need to work on, and there's things that you can still improve on. So like it's a good way to learn, it's a good way to improve, and it's like if you're playing really well, then you're obviously on a high, but sometimes it's not always good to be on high because your work ethic drops. So when you're on a high playing really well, and you have a bad game, then you come back to like a normal level and you realise, oh, I might need to work on this or that. And then, so yeah, it's a good way to learn, and it's just part of it. Like you can't overthink it. Like you're always gonna have a bad game. Like it's just part of it. So just learn from it. Don't overthink, because that's just gonna make you stressed and stuff like that. Just learn from it. work on them things that you didn't do well, and then move on as soon as possible. Move on to the next game. That's the thing in football and sports in general. If you have a bad game or whatever, you've got a game next week to like put it better, to play well. So you have to move on as quickly as possible, but learn from the mistakes you made in the last match. Now here's one from Felix Lindner 1. What shall I do if I have contacts with clubs but no highlights? Well, my first answer would be to get highlights, but it's always not as simple as that. So it's important, if you're interested in networking with clubs and agents, that you have to have a professional CV and a decent highlights video. Now, if you're unable to get highlights, then you really want to have a really good professional CV, and then you might get a chance to go and train with the clubs, and then they can see you in person. However, especially in the last year with COVID and stuff like that, it's very hard to go and train with a team unless you're like an actual player. So highlights have become even more important. So like you just have to really think of a way to get highlights. So if you are playing for a team, just get your parents, a friend, a neighbour, whoever, even like offer them money, like £10-20, whatever. And it doesn't have to be like a professional, amazing camera. It can just be on like an iPhone, whatever, just a smartphone, decent camera. And like there's just a few things. You don't want it to be shaky. You don't want it to be too zoomed in. Like if you can get a cheap tripod and just like have a guy spin it on the ball so it's not shaky, it's even, and it's not too zoomed in, that'll be fine. Then you just like record the whole match, get your best clips, and then put it into one whole video. What I do recommend is like try to record 3, 4, 5 matches, which gives you the best, or gives you better chances of getting like good moments for your highlights video. And another tip with highlights video is put your best clips, or put like one amazing clip at the start so it gets their interest and they watch through the whole thing. But yeah, if you don't have highlights, then focus on having a good CV and just try a way to get in front of them coaches or that club so they can see you in person. So here's one. I like this question, but I can't say his name. It's like Ali Sadboy Bakes. Is why the 24/7 grind mindset doesn't work. Now, I think it depends on the person, because for some people this might work and for some people it might not work. Like obviously you see people like Gary V and like influencers like that on Instagram who are like really trying to advertise this 24/7 grind and hustle movement. And whilst this can work and it can help you improve and grow as a person, a player, a businessman, whatever, it's also a quick way to like burn out and just tire yourself, and like just it will take away the enjoyment in it, because you have to have the right balance in life. You can't just be working or training 24/7 as much as you would like to. Physically and mentally you won't be able to take it. Like your body's going to break down, you'll get injured, and your mind's gonna become tired of it, and at the end of the day it's going to get bored of it. Now I've tried like just grind, and it does work for a certain amount of time, but after that time you seriously just like you start to get enough of it and you don't want to go and train. It just takes away the enjoyment of it. So what I recommend is when you are training, when you are doing this, like when you're in the gym training, whatever, do that 100% intensity, 100% focused. Then whilst you're not training, whilst you're not doing all that stuff, enjoy life, read a book, watch a film, chill out with friends, play FIFA. And if you get the right balance in life, that's giving you the best chances to perform well, train hard, and improve at the rate you want to improve. So, like, I know it's a tough one, because you do see a lot of these, like, motivational pages on YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff, like, really advertising this 24/7 grind. You have to hustle, you have to do all this, that. You can't chill, you can't watch Netflix, you can't do that. However, it's not like that. Like, as a footballer, or, like, footballers in general, they have a lot of free time. Obviously, they go to train in the morning and then they have all afternoon off to do what they want. And like as much as they would like to go and train and like really push themselves, they know they have a training session the next day, or they have a match on the weekends. They have to feel fresh for that. So there's a lot of things you have to pay attention to whilst doing this 24/7 grind thing. But I would recommend when you are working, do that with 100% focus, intensity, and outside of training, outside of gym, just enjoy life, eat good food, sleep enough, and you'll be absolutely fine. So let's see. But here's a good question. It's by Madhu Saini. Sorry if I like absolutely killed your name, but The question is, what to do when a coach doesn't have a good image about you? Now, the best thing to do is simply go and ask your coach, like, what he thinks you can improve on in your game. Like, so for example, if you're not getting enough game time, or if you're on the bench, or if you're not even making the squad, go and ask the coach one-to-one privately, like, why is this player better than me? Why is he getting minutes? Why am I not getting minutes? And what do I need to improve on to get in front of him? So just ask him. He should give you his honest answer, and then you go out or go back, work on that, and then you go back into team training. And if you're not getting minutes again, ask, now what do I need to improve on? And the more and more you do this, the less reasons he's going to have to not play you. And then at the end of the day, you're going to give him no option but to give you minutes, because you've taken away every part of the game that he said wasn't good enough, because you worked on it all. So just ask them, be honest, be brave, and just go and take the words that he says on board, understand them, and just go and work on the things he told you to work on. It's that simple. But without asking them, you're not going to get nowhere. So you have to ask them. Now, here's a question by Kiemo 2020. Should I join a camp that costs £15,000, dollars? I don't know. I'll say dollars. $15,000 is a lot of money for a football camp. Now, I don't know anything about you or the camp, but I personally wouldn't pay $15,000 for a football camp. There's a lot of things you can do with that amount of money, and you can find camps for much less money. So personally, I wouldn't go to a camp that costs that amount of money. But obviously, this is you. This is your choice, your money. 100% up to you. This is just my opinion. Now, here's a question from Zane Gohar, I think. And the question is, will masturbation affect my performance? As of now, I do not know the answer to this question. I'm currently doing this NoFap movement thing. I'm currently 3 weeks. I'm going to do an update video on YouTube after 4 weeks, after a month. And then I'll give you my honest answer if there's any benefits, if I've seen any differences, improvement in performance, energy, anything like that. So just look out for that YouTube video, and I'll give you my honest answer then. Right, let's try and find a good question. Right, so this question by Gish_Cow, I'm not sure. How to break into the starting 11 of your team, especially in a position that's not rotated a lot. So it's going to be a sort of similar answer to the last video, last question I just answered. Just go and ask your coach and manager what you need to do to get in front of the player that's playing in your position. Just ask what you need to improve on in your game to get minutes. And then once you've worked on that, and if you're still not getting minutes, go and ask again. Then work on that until he has no reason but to play you and give you minutes. So just go on, and it might be tough, especially if you're a shy person, but be brave, just go and ask. And I'm sure they're going to be quite impressed with you, because that shows that you have the right attitude and that you want to work and improve. So the coach isn't going to think anything bad of you. I think he should think good of you, because you want to work hard and improve your game. So there's alright, let's see for the next question. Where can I see reviews? Right, there's this question, quick one. I'm not going to read your name because I can't honestly read it. Is, where can I see some reviews of your coaching program? Thanks. So basically, just go on to trustpilot.com and just search JNM football, and then all our reviews are there. That simple. Right, here's a good question by Anna Kula, I think. Is, should I train at the same time every day? Now, me personally, I think you should train around the same times every day, because it gets you into a good schedule, and by having a good schedule, you can stay consistent. So if you had the whole day free, say you had no school, no work, no nothing, I would pick a day, or pick a time for every day where you have nothing in your way. You can 100% focus on training and improving. Me personally, if I had nothing to do in the whole day, my whole time was free, I would go train first time in the morning, bang that out, and then in the afternoon, evening, I'll go to the gym or do the other, and try to stick to that every single day. Now personally, because obviously I now have team training, we train in the afternoon, so I like to hit the gym in the morning, which gives me the biggest amount of time in between the two sessions, so time for my body to recover, time for me to get the right foods and the right amount of waters in my body. and then that allows me to have enough energy to perform in the second session of the day. So I would 100% recommend you train the same day, the same time every day, because it just gets you into a schedule. You can be consistent, and yeah, I'd say that helps. So here is another one from that Ali Sad Boy Bakes. It's balancing school and football. Now, with this one, I would the answer is you just have to have good time management. So I would create like a daily schedule, so you know what you're doing, where you have to be, stuff like that. Obviously, you don't want to have like a really, really tight schedule where you have every minute planned out, because that's just like overboard. So say you have school from, I don't know, 8 to 3, blah, 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 hour of homework, so you're free after 4, 5. Then after, say, half 4, 5, you can go train, come home, have dinner, and go gym. Like, create a schedule that you can stick to, but a schedule that you also have free time to, like, just relax, chill with friends, read, play FIFA, whatever. Like, you have to have that free time just to let your body and mind relax. Because in the long term, if you're serious about football, obviously you have to train almost every single day, and in the long term, you're going to get tired, you're going to get injured, your mind's going to get tired. So you want to find a system that works for you and allows you to be consistent in the long term. Right, let's see a few more questions. How to have a career? How many matches a week should I play to get my team? Alright, so here's a question by Muhawadallah. Sorry. What should I do in an injury prevention session? Now, this injury prevention session, I think, is a bit different for everyone, because everyone suffered different injuries. Everyone's body is different. So, for example, someone has stronger quads, someone has stronger groins, someone has weaker calves. I don't know, like everyone's body is different. So you want to find an injury prevention session that is fit for your body and works for you. Me personally, I know I have weaker groins. I had ACL injury, so I have to be careful about that. So my injury prevention session is based around strengthening up my groins and really focusing on my left leg because of my ACL injury. So that's strengthening up my quad, my hamstring, calves, glutes, stuff like that. But you don't want to overcomplicate it. Like an injury prevention video is like an injury prevention session is similar to a normal weightlifting session. It's just more focused on, like, as a footballer, you're going to use your legs all the time, obviously. So you really want to focus on strengthening up, like, your quads, your hamstrings, 100%. Calves, you get a lot of calf injuries nowadays. So you just want to focus on really strengthening up your legs and any weaker areas you have in your body. So if you've had any surgeries on your bodies or past injuries, really focus on them areas and get them as strong as you can. And that will then limit the chances of you getting injured again. So I'll just, like, my injury prevention session is basically, it would be normally like Bulgarian split squats, but like recently they've been, after doing Bulgarian split squats, my hip flex have been feeling it, so I've been avoiding them lately. I've been doing stuff like single leg box squats, hamstring curls, leg extensions. I like to do a lot of single leg stuff, because in football you spend a lot of time on just one leg, so you want to strengthen them up individually. So leg extensions, hamstring curls, calf raises. And I like to do like individual hops, lateral hops, forward, back hops, stuff like that. Nothing crazy, but it works for me and it's helped. And then obviously I focus on my groin area, because I know I've got weaker groins and glutes. So yeah, so I think I'm not sure how many questions I've gone through, but I've answered a bunch of questions. I'm not sure how much, but I didn't want this video to be too long because it would just be boring and drag. So thank you guys for your questions. Like, as I said, we want to do a podcast weekly, and I'm really going to try and do it, and I'll try and get guests on and stuff like that. But if you have any questions or topics that you want us to speak about, just let us know in the comments below. DM us on Instagram, email us, however you want. So yeah, thank you for tuning in to our podcast. Hopefully I'll see you guys next week, and have a good day.